清大德圣境，为是化为一切众生，尽断妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱世，离苦得乐，出真无生。Sangha we return to out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Return the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to be suffering and embrace and burden death and quickly realize hunger.
南无妙觉回向佛菩萨。
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 Homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, a wonderful enlightenment mountain. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿觉如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。Venerable Master, Dharma friends, welcome to the opening of this year's observance of our teacher's Nirvana. This is the year 28 since our teacher entered Nirvana in 1995, and we have tomorrow a full day of events, and tonight we're kicking it off with a panel discussion. You get to hear from a member of every one of our extended communities, and we're delighted that people have come all the way up from Long Beach, and people have come all the way up from LA, and from Sacramento, and from Seattle, and even from Australia, all the way to take part in this annual event, which is, in our calendar year, the largest event. This draws more people. So after a quarter century plus 3 years, our teacher's impact and the significance of his bringing the Dharma to the West is sending out ripples that continue to resound. So let me translate that, and I'll tell you what the program will be tonight. 就说我们今天欢迎各位远路而来，那么各位从美国、加拿大各地而到万佛殿来，就说共进的认识，这是第28年上人入涅槃的那个日子。那么师父上人他1995年了就入涅槃了。那我们到了现在已经快到 a quarter of a century， 大家都没有忘了，师父就在心间。那个我们今天晚上开始今年2023年的这个observance， 因为 COVID， 因为疫情的关系了，所以2年3年都没有像这样子的。不过我们都今天晚上大家 Long Beach 还有 Los Angeles， 还有西雅图还有澳大利亚各地来的朋友佛友就到万佛殿来跟大家一起。So let's take a look. I'll talk about the schedule for tomorrow after our time is done. We're going to be here till 9 o'clock, and we're going to hear from the 4 assemblies of the traditional Sangha, the Buddhist Sangha. We're going to hear from the monks, the nuns, the laymen, and the lay women. We're going to have a translation into Mandarin Chinese, and we also have a translation into Vietnamese. And if I think you probably know how that's happening? Okay, that's in the back, says Kai. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Vietnamese translation in the back. Do people have to go back to be close? Is that how you're doing it? So you tell everybody, you don't have to tell me. So if everybody knows how to get a Vietnamese translation, there we are. They have earphones. Okay, excellent, excellent. So 有耳机，你们谁愿意听越南话都有耳机可以分给你。Okay, we appreciate that. We have a translation. Tonight's translation is also going into China, into Taiwan, into Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, and the Philippines, and Indonesia, courtesy of volunteers in Australia who every week at this time of night on Saturday night regularly translate the Sutra lectures. So for the audience who came looking for the Avatamsaka Sutra tonight and found themselves in the Buddha Hall at City of 10,000 Buddhas, welcome. We are mirroring tonight's panel discussion for the Saturday night lecture of the Avatamsaka Sutra. So what luck that you all get to join us here in the 10,000 Buddhas Hall. 因为今天晚上一般呢，星期六晚上呢是讲华严经有有佛友在澳大利亚那里翻译给讲中文的、讲普通话的佛友在中国、台湾、香港、马来西亚、新加坡、菲律宾、印尼还有各地有华人愿意听中文都有办法。今天晚上我们又有提供越南话的翻译，谁想听越南话有耳机放给你所以呢，今天晚上有一些朋友他们想听华严经想不到他们就带到万佛上城的万佛殿，欢迎你们参加今天晚上特别的节目。All right, so that gets us ready to hear from our first speaker, and this will be Dharma Master Heng Lai, who has come down from Snow Mountain Monastery. I think pretty much everybody knows Heng Lai, and he has a wealth of stories and personal experiences with our teacher that he wants to share. 那么第一位今天晚上是代表这个南众的比丘僧团是恒来法师，那么他呢，我相信各位都认识了。那么恒来法师他接近上人，已经快50年了，所以呢，他能跟大家分享的这些故事呢，很多很动听，所以各位要细耳聆听。Okay.
To the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Master, the Great Assembly, Omitofo. I remember this today. I just want to tell you that in 1976, when we bought Wanfachang, Mahang Shur and I were allowed to leave home by the Venerable Master here in this Buddha Hall. At that time, it was just a gymnasium, pretty much. We had the basketball nets. We were able to get them out of the way a little bit. And we had a stage here, and the Venerable Master had invited some masters from Taiwan to certify us. And so we came here in late August of 1976. And we all left home together, Heng Shur and myself. And I think Judy's were with us. When we left home.
It was I was on Zheng, Heng Huan, and Jie, was it?
Jie? There was a very old nun. She was in her 90s.
Heng Shou.
Long
life show.
Long life, yes. She left home with us too. The master is very compassionate. Because usually in Buddhism, you're supposed to be 55 or younger. Or sometimes they said it at 70 or younger. Now I'm so old, I don't know if I can do it.
诸佛菩萨、上人，还有诸位大众，阿弥陀佛。今天呢，来跟诸位分享，我们是在1976年，就是买了万佛城这个地，然后也就是那一年呢，就释法师跟我是在这里出家，然后诸位所在的这个万佛宝殿呢， 在之前它是一个运动馆，然后有投篮球的篮筐篮网，我们都把它拆掉了。然后现在的说法台呢，就当时的一个讲台。然后上人呢，当时有邀请很多法师从台湾来，然后帮助我们，就是等于是洒净，然后开幕。然后石法师跟我呢，就是在1976年就在这里出家。就当时呢，我们出家还有另外差不多4、5位，还有比丘顺法师，然后比丘尼好像是慧法师还是受法师之类的。然后上人呢，他非常的慈悲，像一般接受出家呢，都是55岁以下，就是年轻的。可是上人呢，他接受出家众，几乎都有接收到70多岁的。然后譬如说像我现在这么年纪这么大，如果我现在要重新出家，我想我可能都很难做得到。
And so we left home here for the first time in the city of 10,000 Buddhas. And that was before we had these really adorned Buddha images, and before the Guanyin was adorned with gold. And I'm not even sure, was the Guanyin installed at that time? I don't know if we brought it up from Gold Mountain even when we left home. I think it was just still a gym. So I think we have some old photos of that time, but my memory is no good, so I'm just assuming we didn't. And now it's a few years later, and we have an adorned Buddha hall here to practice the way. But I just remember that was a very special occasion, of course, for us at least. And we were able to kind of kick off the City of 10,000 Buddhas by starting ordination here, even when the place was really not ready for it. But the master had great compassion and was very expedient and patient with us. So that's what I wanted to communicate to everybody, is his great compassion for even allowing us to leave home at that time.
所以我们当时呢，就是第一次在这里就是出家，在温佛城第一次的出家的一个法会。然后我不记得当时的千手观音呢已经有来了，应该是还没有在佛殿。当时呢，千手观音应该还是在金山寺里面，所以后来的千手观音是几年之后才搬过来。然后我们诸位所看到的，就是1万尊的佛像，也都是后来之后再装的。所以当时呢，其实它就是一个运动馆，还没有像现在这么的庄严。所以我们当时呢，就参加了这样的一个很殊胜特别的一个出家的仪式，然后就开始在望佛城。然后当时呢，上人就非常慈悲，其实他的场地设施其实都还没有准备好，但是因为上人的善巧方便还有慈悲，就让我们能够有机会，就是在这里出家开始。
So in those early days, there were not very many people living here, just a skeleton crew, we used to call it, a very, very thin number of people. And the master was not greedy to get up here, even though we just acquired the place. He still taught and lectured down at Gold Mountain Monastery. And everybody's getting really anxious. When are we going to move to Wanfachang? He would go on as if nothing happened. So he'd slowly bring the Dharma up here, a little at a time. And I thought, wow, that's really something, the way he teaches people, not to be greedy. Don't be greedy for the city of 10,000 Buddhas. He says, if you want to be greedy for being a Buddha. Become a Buddha, and you can be as greedy as you want.
当年呢，开始望佛城的时候，其实住在这里的住众人非常的少。就是只有几位呢，在负责住在这里管理。因为当时呢，上人还是在金山寺，还是每天都有讲经，所以我们当时知道买的这个地方望佛城，可是其实一开始的时候呢，活动并不多，所以我们都一直在想说，奇怪，怎么我们大家不上来呢，在这里办活动，然后好用这个地方。所以上人就是慢慢的把这个地方呢做起来，然后他当时呢就有跟我们开示类似，就是说呢，你们不要这么贪心， 然后要做怎么做这个做那个。但是呢，你要贪心的呢，就贪赶快成佛，赶快成佛，贪这个心就好，其他的就不要贪心。
So we were all still living at Gold Mountain for the most part, even though we had acquired Wangfacheng. And finally, the master said one day, he says, okay, you three monks, Heng Shi, Heng Shun, and Heng Lai, one of you have to go up to the city of 10,000 Buddhas and help out, is how he put it. He says, so talk amongst yourself and decide. Well, it was impossible because Heng Shi was ready to go on the Sambui Bai trip, so he couldn't go. Heng Shun had to take care of the office and all the management of the Gold Mountain, so it's obvious he couldn't go. So I got stuck. So he sent me up here. So that's how I started to live here.
像买了万佛城的时候呢，我们大部分的住众都还是在金山寺，所以当时隔了一段时间，上人就说好，我叫3位比丘来住在万佛城开始。然后当时呢，他选的就是十法师，然后顺法师跟我自己。不过当时十法师呢，他刚开始要准备3步一拜，所以当然呢也没有办法能够常住在万佛城。然后顺法师呢，当时是负责管理就是金山寺，所以当然也不可能来到万佛城，所以剩下谁呢？就剩下我。
Okay, so I guess my time's up. So I'll conclude. Anyway, I just want to welcome everybody here for Shifu's Nirvana Day, which is very special in our hearts. Omitofo.
所以我时间已经到了，所以我就简单做个结论。很欢迎诸位大家来到万佛城。然后今天呢，是这个庆活动对我们来讲都是非常特别，在我们的心中都有很特别的一个地位，就是上人的涅槃纪念日。阿弥陀佛。
Okay, 阿弥陀佛。We appreciate the translation, kindness of the volunteers. We have volunteers putting this lecture out onto Zoom and also out onto YouTube. It's not easy to do, and this way the Dharma goes further. Master Hua was an early adopter of technology. Whatever worked to turn the Dharma wheel, Shifu wanted us to investigate it, to use it. So for sure he would be all over live streaming, webcasting, etc. So we appreciate everybody's efforts in this to get us out to the world. 今天晚上大家听到恒来法师转法轮那个因为有就很用功很上心的精进的居士们义工，他们愿意把我们讲的英语就翻译成各国的语言，同时呢有义工在这把这个照相机啊录影机啊在那儿就直播，还有登到网络上。你们各位知道，神功上人是所谓 early adopter， 任何的科技的工具能把我们那个佛法能更广博的传呢，往外传呢，他都会叫弟子们来研究所以呢，师父如果知道有现在可以登的 Zoom 还有 YouTube， 他一定会要我们尽量的去研究Okay, to represent the Bhikshuni Sangha, I'd like to introduce Dharma Master Heng Liang. You all know her, especially on the women's side. Whenever there was a Fa Hui in Taiwan or in Malaysia or in Canada, Dharma Master Heng Liang was the Weno that you got to hear. She was our chanting expert, and also the early editions of our sutras. If you look at the beautiful calligraphy on the cover, those are hand-lettered, many of them, by Dharma Master Heng Liang. So she ordained in 1982. So you can do the math. It's 40 plus years as a Bhikshuni, which makes her one of the senior Bhikshunis in the world in our Mahayana tradition. So she's going to share her thoughts, and then Amy will be the translator. 接下来呢，我们请恒良师给大家传法轮。恒良师呢，他1982年出了家，已经40多届了。全世界有汉传佛教，他是戒律最长的一位比丘尼。他呢也是书法家， 英语西方书法，很多书籍，我们的经书是他把这个就铅笔，拿那个硬笔，那个方块笔来写那个名题在书本上。他也是维诺是第1名。很多年，你如果要办两皇宝忏啊，慈悲三昧水忏呢，就是彭良师在那儿就当维诺。所以呢，你们大家我相信都很熟。Okay, we would like to ask Bhikshuni Hamyang to please go ahead.
Homage to the Buddha, excuse me. Homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, to the Venerable Master, and to all esteemed Sangha members, and welcome to all Dharma friends. The Venerable Master often said that one of his missions in coming to the US was to establish a proper Sangha in the West. You could say that this was his foundational mission, because a proper monastic Sangha is a requirement for the proper Dharma to remain in the world. And moreover, DRBU could not exist without a proper monastic Sangha. But for a monastic Sangha to survive, it requires the help and support of the other 2 members groups of the Fourfold Assembly, that is, laymen and laywomen. In other words, all 4 of the Fourfold Assemblies are required for the proper Dharma to remain in the world.
诸佛菩萨、宣化上人诸位佛友，阿弥陀佛。上人呢曾经说过，他来美国就是为了要在于西方建立一个正式的、正当的僧团，也可以说这是他来美国的一个基本的使命，是为了要让正法能够存在这个世界，所以要建立一个正式的僧团。还有法种呢，如果没有一个正式的僧团的存在，就不会有法种。要让一个僧团呢生存在这个世界上呢，必须要有其他4众里面的2众，也就是在家居士、女居士还有男居士的协助还有支持。所以这4众呢，就是要让正法存在世界上有具备的条件之一。
The Master taught us that each of the 4 assemblies has their assigned roles and responsibilities. The role and responsibilities of monks and nuns is primarily to hold precepts, to practice and study the Dharma, and to serve as role models and guides for the laity. While the primary role and responsibility of lay women and laymen is to support and protect the Sangha. And so the Venerable Master would often refer to his lay disciples as Dharma protectors.
上人呢教导我们每个士众呢都有他的角色还有责任。出家众的角色还有责任呢，主要就是持戒、修行、学习佛法，做在家人的模范还有引导。那在家人呢，在家居士的角色还有责任呢，就是要护持僧团。所以上人呢时常叫他的在家弟子护法。
Just as he taught his monastic disciples the requisites for being a monastic, he also taught his lay disciples the requisites for being Dharma protectors. With the Fourfold Assembly, each taking on their respective roles and responsibilities, and working together harmoniously, the proper Dharma is able to sustain and flourish. That said, in DRBA, this arrangement is more complex because the Master required his monastic disciples to also be responsible for the operation and maintenance of the way place and its various programs. And for the laity, he provided opportunities and encouragement to cultivate together with the Sangha.
上人呢，他同时呢教他出家众做一位出家众具备的条件之外呢，他同时呢也教他的在家弟子如何做一个好的护法。那这四众呢，各个做好他们各有的角色还有责任呢，和和的相处，正法呢才能够生存，还有发扬光大。那在法界佛教总会这个安排是比较复杂的，因为上人呢，他要求他的在家出家弟子呢，要负责各个道场的运作，还有维修，还有活动之外呢，他同时也提供了在家人呢机会，还有鼓励呢，和出家众一起修行。
For my part, I will take this opportunity to announce the upcoming 15th ordination platform at the City of 10,000 Buddhas. The 108-day training program commenced at CDDB on March 29th. The precepts transmission will take place on July 14th and 15th.
今天我要借此机会来宣布，即将要传送的万佛圣城第15届的三坛大戒，在3月29号，108天的培训在万佛城展开，传戒会在7月14号和7月15号发生。接下来这个开幕仪式呢，在万佛城之后，女众的戒指就迁移到沙迦缅度的法界圣城。
Following the platform opening ceremony at CTTB, female preceptees moved to the sagely city of the Dharma realm in Sacramento to engage in the 108-day pre-ordination training. Traditionally, during a pre-ordination training program, preceptees memorized and received instructions on the 10 major and 48 minor bodhisattva precepts, as well as the respective monastic precepts.
就是在万佛城这个开幕典礼仪式完之后，女戒指就在迁移到沙迦缅度的法界圣城，开始108天的戒期的培训。那通常在这个培训的过程当中，戒指呢会背诵这些戒律，还有接受这10众48请菩萨戒的教导课程，还有他们的戒律。
Currently, at CDR, most preceptees have completed their memorization and are bowing a minimum of 2 to 4 hours a day to cleanse away karmic obstructions so that they will be better able to receive the precept substance during the ordination transmission. In addition, classes and lectures are held during the day and an evening lecture on the precepts, so that the preceptees will not only have memorized them, but will also be prepared to begin their practice of them immediately following ordination.
目前在法界圣城呢，大部分的戒指已经完成他们戒律的背诵。一天呢，礼佛至少2个钟头，甚至有时候4个钟头。为了要扫除他们的业障，所以在受戒的时候能够接受戒体。白天还有傍晚的课程，还有戒律的讲经，让戒指呢，不但呢有机会背诵这些戒律以外，也可以准备受戒完之后马上开始持戒。
The last CTTB ordination took place in 2017. 6 years ago. Normally, ordinations occur every 3 to 4 years, but during this pandemic, this was not possible. That is because in accord with the CTTB's ordination tradition established by the Venerable Master, for the sake of promoting inter-Buddhist harmony and cooperation, 3 masters and 7 certifiers are invited from the various Buddhist traditions to perform the transmission. And during the pandemic, it was not possible for these high Sanghas to come. And that is why the current group of preceptees has been waiting at least 6 to 8 years to be ordained.
上一次万佛城传三强大戒的时候是在6年前，2017年。通常呢，传戒是每3到4年一次，但是因为疫情的影响，我们没有办法办。那是因为呢，上人呢在万佛城建立的这个传统呢，是为了提倡宗教佛教之间的和谐配合，我们邀请的三师七正是从不同佛教的传统来传授的。那在疫情当中呢，这些高僧大德呢没有办法来到这，所以呢，我们目前这一批的戒子呢，已经等了6到8年受戒。
Needless to say, having maintained the resolve while waiting so long has strengthened their Bodhi mind and provided an opportunity for them to more deeply practice the paramita of patience, which is an essential requirement for realizing the way.
这些戒子呢，他们不但没有退心，反而增加了他们发的菩提心，这也是一个机会，让他们更深入的修行，才能入般若蜜，也是要证道的其中的具备的条件之一。
I think Dharma Master sure jinxed me when he said that I used to be a Wayno, because I do not sound like a Wayno right now.
司法师可能今天提过我曾经做过维柔，但今天呢，我声音不是很好。
I want to also say that not only these preceptees have been patiently waiting, but all of you here tonight have been patiently waiting to come back to the CTTB and be with us. And also, this proves your Bodhi resolve and faith in the Dharma.
那除了戒子们不但很有耐心的等到今天，各位在众呢的信众，你们也非常有耐心，能够今天等到今天回来，这也证明你们的发心。
The monastic life taught by the Master requires a great deal of energy and strength of body and mind. Now the world population is aging, and with so many distractions and troubles permeating the world, it is not easy for people to renounce the pleasures and comforts of the home life and totally dedicate themselves to the practice, study, and propagation of the Dharma while they are still young and more vigorous. The world is very fortunate that these monastics have been able to make the resolve to leave the home life and cultivate the way, and I am sure that the 15th CTTB ordination will be a most auspicious event. Amitofo.
上人教导的出家生活呢，要具备很大的身心上都要具备的能量跟力量。现在世界的人口在老化，也有各式各样的烦恼啊，还有让人家分心的事情。所以在年轻的时候能够发心呢，要放下这些舒适的在家生活，完完全全的投入修行，投入学习，投入传法呢，是非常不容易的。 这世界呢是非常的幸运呢，我们现在有这一批的出家众发这个心出家来修行。我相信呢，万佛圣城第15届的三坛大戒将会是一个极光吉祥的一个事件。阿弥陀佛。
Okay, Alan Mitofo. So we heard from Dharma Master Liang about the ordination coming up. There's going to be 17 new bhikshunis in the world, one new bodhisattva precept shami. I think the demons are going to be very unhappy about that. You know what they say? There's a moment in the precept ordination ceremony where the masters say, 你是大将诸佛, and the ordinee says, 是大将佛. And they say, as soon as you hear that, Mara's palace trembles because one more living being has left his control, and the Buddha's retinue, the Buddha's family has grown by one Dharma soldier, you could say, a soldier in the Buddha's army, for men and women. So that's going to happen here, coming up just a few weeks from now. It's a big deal for the world. All right, let's say, 就说刚刚衡阳师跟大家分享，这个现在在准备这个登坛受三坛具足大戒的有17位沙弥尼准备做比丘尼。还有一位沙弥要做菩萨戒，当菩萨戒的沙弥那么在那个仪式当中呢，有1分钟，那个在台上的37将就说：“你是大丈夫法 ，Are you a great hero？” 然后那个 candidate 就说：“是大丈夫 ，Yes I am。” They say for men and women， 就说那个时候那个魔王的那个宫殿就震动。就裂了他大不高兴，因为他的眷属少了1名那么佛的眷属就增长1名，所以呢，这个都再过几个礼拜了，就在这个王佛大殿还有我们的戒坛都会发生的事。All right, to my right and to everybody left, I'd like you to meet Dr. John Wu. Dr. Wu is very well known in the scientific community worldwide. He is a graduate and faculty at Carnegie Mellon Institute, one of the nation's premier training grounds for scientists. And he is now currently in Seattle and is among the Vietnamese community is a respected layperson. And he is also a member of the board of Dharma Realm Buddhist University and is going to speak for us today. And Alan will be the translator again. 接下来给你们介绍Dr. Wu 教授，他是 Carnegie Mellon 的毕业生，是在全世界的科学界呢非常受尊重的一名。那么他也是在越南佛教界的就有贡献的这个居士。所以今天晚上他跟大家，他用英语讲，然后 Alan Huang 就帮他翻译。Okay, Dr. Wu, would you like to speak, please?
Buddha, Bodhisattva, Fellow Master, Dharma Master.
Buddha, Bodhisattva, Fellow Master, Dharma Master, and Dharma friends. As laypersons practicing Buddhists, one of our responsibility is to learn, to cultivate, and to support the propagation of proper Dharma to all living beings, for the benefit of all living beings.
诸佛菩萨、上人、诸位法师、诸位佛友，阿弥陀佛。像身为一位在家的修行者，我们的责任呢，就是呢，要好好的去学佛法，把正法传给就是所有的众生。
In the past, to learn the proper Dharma, one had to travel very far. For example, in the past, everybody knows that Dharma Master Chuen Chan had to travel all the way from China to India to learn the Buddha Dharma.
在过往，如果要学正法，必须要旅行到很远的地方。诸位都知道，就是我们的玄奘大师，他从中国到印度去学习佛法。
But today, many of us, due to technology, we can learn the proper Dharma from anywhere at any time, thanks to the streaming, online teachings, and many other means of learning.
比如在今天，像我们大部分的诸位呢，我们借由目前的现代科技，我们的实况直播，我们可以在随时随地各个时间都有机会能够学习到正法。
I would like to appreciate Dharma Master Short, who have been teaching from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, lecture on the Platform Sutra, the Golden Platform Sutra, the many other sutra. And his lecture is very well attended. Several hundred people, about a third of them came from all over the world. I looked at that, many came from Hong Kong, China, Malaysia, and Europe. That is one of the wonderful things of propagating the proper Dharma.
我在此要特别感谢石法师，他在每周五、每周六跟星期日都有讲经说法，譬如像六祖坛经、华严经等等。像这些法会呢，都有很多的大概将近上百位的信众来自世界各地参加这样子的一个的佛法的研讨会。信众有来自香港、中国、马来西亚、欧洲，像这是一个非常好的一种传法的活动。
Dharma Master Heng Shi also teaching the Surangama mantra on Tuesday, and the class is also very well attended. About a third of the audience is also came from all over the world.
像持法师，他呢在每个星期二的下午有讲楞严咒，像有将近2/3以上的参与者也是从世界各地来。
For many years, Dharma Master Jin Zhang also have a class on Tuesday on precept. He has several classes for many years on precept. And I think that is very important classes for all the Buddhists, especially the one who want to learn more about the precept to attend. Now he start to lecturing on the Sixth Patriarch Platform Sutra. It's also very well attended.
像在周二，就是永法师，他之前有教戒律，也教了非常多年。像尤其是我们佛子想要学习戒律，像这样子的戒律课就非常的重要。然后戒律课目前是到一个段落，他现在是在讲六祖坛经，然后也是有很多的信众从各地都有来参加。
From Taiwan, Dharma Master Jin Fan also have online course. He's been also teaching the Golden Platform Sutra and Avatamsaka Sutra. Most of the audience came from Taiwan, Hong Kong, and many of them from mainland China. It's also very well attended.
像范法师，他在台湾，他每天也都有网络的讲经说法，他有讲华严经，有讲弥陀经。像信众呢，也是由各地，有台湾、香港或中国大陆都有来参加。
In Hong Kong, Dharma Master Han Hing also lecturing on Surangama Sutra and Mantra. It's also very well attended, but both Dharma Master Hing and Dharma Master Fan is only speaking in English with limited translation. But I think that in the future, with more translation, I think the proper Dharma can be spread in many other countries.
像在香港的恒星师新法师呢，他有讲 楞严经、楞严咒，也是有很多的信众来参加。不过像在台湾的范法师，在香港的新法师，他们讲经说法是以讲中文为主，所以并没有说翻译成英文，所以希望在不久的将来，像这样子的讲经说法也都能够有英文的翻译，所以更多人能够参加。
And today, in many branch monastery also have lecture. For example, in Gold Summit, there's a lecture on Lotus Sutra, and the 100 Dharma, Dharma Master Jinshi has been lecturing that, but the still number of limited people attended. And I think that probably because not very many people know about it.
在我们的分会，譬如说西雅图的金峰寺，然后净吉师他有讲，就是妙法莲华经，还有白法明人论，然后参加的信众呢，人数比较少，可能是并没有太多人知道像这样子的一个说法。
In Gold Sage monasteries, have been lecture on Vimutti Sutra, and also is still limited because it's still being teaching in Chinese. I hope that in the future we'll have more of that in English and also other languages to benefit more people.
像当然在我们的法界佛法会所有的不同的分院也都有很多的一些不同的讲经说法，当然都是以讲中文的为主，讲英文的毕竟是少数，所以希望将来不只能够有更多的英文的说法，或是其他世界各国的语言。
One of the things that I really like the most is the Dharma Assembly has been streaming online. For example, the 10,000 Buddha repentance a couple of weeks ago is also very well attended. I believe when I attend on Sunday, that's about closer to 500 people. And about a third of them came from all over the world.
所以像我自己个人最喜欢的就是各种不同的网络的法会，像在前几周不久前的万佛宝忏，他也有做网络的直播。我记得有一个星期天我来参加，几乎有将近500位来参加网络的万佛宝忏，将近有1/3以上都是世界各地来参加的。
In Long Beach, monasteries also have many of the Dharma Assembly carry online, streaming online, and I think it benefits many people. And I know that even though some of them is done in Vietnamese, but I also found out that several people from Vietnam also attend that assembly online. And I think that we need to do more of that all over the world in different languages.
像我们的长堤盛世，它有很多的一些法会，也都是由网络转播，然后它应该都是以越南文为主，所以我知道，甚至有信众在越南有上网参加，所以我们需要像这样子更多的活动，才可以把佛法传到各个角落。
From the layperson perspective, I know that many people, especially the elderly, having difficulty to travel to all the Dharma assembly. But now, since many of them has been conducted online and streaming online, I think it benefits a lot of people. I have talked to many elderly, and they really appreciate the streaming of the Dharma assembly. And I hope that in the future, we should continue to using the technology for the benefit of all the persons all over the world. And I wish that in the future, many of the lecture and Dharma assembly can be conducted in several different languages for the benefit of all people all over the world, because we need to propagate more the proper Dharma all over the world to benefit all living beings. Amitabha.
像也有常常听到，尤其是年长者，我们的信众， 他们年纪大，没有办法能够就是远行来到各个地方参加法会，然后现在我们的法会都有网络转播，所以尤其是像年长者的我们的信众呢，帮助非常的大，我听到很多很正面的一些回应，所以我相信，我也希望就是我们能够继续做这样子的各种法会或是讲经说法的网络转播，所以呢，可以让更多的众生在世界各地角落呢，都能够有得到这个正法的滋养，都能够学习到正法。阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。So, in order for the Dharma to take root in the West and in the world, some people have to lecture on it, but some people have to listen to it. And clearly, Dr. Wu has been listening. He just ran around the entire Dharma realm, wherever Shifu's disciples are speaking, and told us about. I didn't know about Gold Summit. I'm going to look that up and listen to the Bhikshunis explain the Shastras. That's a precious example. And also, he pointed to the 10,000 Buddhas' repentance this year. I heard year after year people would say, "Oh, I really wanted to come, but I couldn't get a visa. Oh, I really wanted to come, but my mother got sick and I couldn't get on the plane." Various reasons why they couldn't come. Well, this year they could. This year, the 10,000 Buddhas was well attended. We looked at the records. We looked at the internet attendance and discovered that most of the people who, like 80% of the people who came for one period, stayed for the whole thing. We clocked the number of hours and the number of days, and it was remarkable how sincere people were taking the opportunity. We had to get the biggest Zoom account. Our Zoom account was too small to accommodate all the people who wanted to bow. So there is definitely a future for using the tools of the internet to bring the Buddha Dharma around the world. That is our teacher's vision. 刚刚吴教授就说，当然会有人讲经，可是呢，有没有人听经？有。他呢，刚刚给我们讲哪一个法种的道场有人在那讲经说法呢？所以呢，以自己本身呢，我想回去有机会听到金风寺西雅图的比丘尼僧，他们在那讲百法明门论呢，我想自己都听，我不知道他们有这个法会还有今年这个万佛宝忏的上网，很多年就年年都有人说我很想来，可是拿不到签证，糟糕，又一年都不能参加，今年就参加了，因为在网络所以呢，这个是大的进步。我们因为是上网，所以呢，我们知道有多少人收听。我们现在把这个成一个我们成一个 graph， 就知道多数的人参加1个小时就参加全部，不是说半途而废还有呢，因为那个要参加万佛宝忏的人那么多，我们的 Zoom account 都要加就是最大的容量我们本来是100人然后300人呢，现在到了1000个人，因为真的需要那么多，所以用科技的工具这样子呢，转法轮我相信这是和上人的抱负也合格了。Okay, so our next speaker is Terry Epstein, Guosan. She was the opening principal for our very first elementary and middle school, instilling virtue, cultivating goodness. She followed her older brother, Ron Epstein, to meet Master Hua, and then to use her effort to spread the Buddha's teaching through education. And she is here today representing the lay women's community. So we're going to ask Terry to share with us what she'd like to say. 那么接下来呢，有果参居士，就是 Terry Epstein， 他呢，跟他的哥哥Ron 果荣是很早就接近玄公上人。Terry 呢是上人在进行他的推行教育这种事业呢， 重用这位女居士。那么她是第1名这个语良小学配的中学的校长，很多年在万佛商城，还有在旧金山。所以呢，她今天代表我们优婆夷女众居士的这个团队。So Terry, if you please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Venerable Master, Dharma Masters, and Dharma friends. I'm so happy to see everybody here tonight, and I think all of us realize how precious being here in the Buddha Hall is when during the pandemic we weren't able to be together. So it makes me very happy to see everybody here tonight.
诸佛菩萨、宣化上人、诸位法师、诸位法友，晚安！我今天非常的高兴，能够在此。我想各位呢也是同样的感受，因为呢我们经过了疫情，就发现这能够相处在同样的佛殿这里是多么的珍贵，所以呢我非常的高兴。
So the very first time I came to the city of 10,000 Buddhas was very soon after we purchased it, and the master tirelessly brought groups of people up to see the city of it wasn't yet the city of 10,000 Buddhas, but it was then the old state mental hospital. So the day that I came up with the master with a handful of other people, it was late in the afternoon. I think we came after I finished teaching. And the master took us in, it seemed to me, every single building. We were in the basement of the large kitchen. We went into all the walk-in freezers. We went to all the wards in the different buildings and even into the prison for the criminally insane, which later became Tathagata Monastery. And although the master, of course, with his wonderful vision, could see the city of 10,000 Buddhas, I was feeling like it was a little bit creepy. But of course, I didn't say anything. And on the way back in the car, the master had a habit of always letting everybody go in front of him. And in the car, he would sit in the very back of the van. So as we're driving back, at one point, he leaned over the seat and said to me, "So what did you think?" And I didn't want to say, "Shifu, I think it's really creepy." So I said, "Shifu, it's really big." And he smiled and said, "Well, you may think it's big, but I think it's really small." So I think that says a lot about the master. His vision was huge, and he was constantly trying to help us expand the measure of our hearts and minds so that we could share his vision. So, and the schools were a good example of this. We started out the schools with just a handful of students, and it was hard to see how it would grow to be kindergarten through university in those first few years where there were just a few children. And although it seems like being a Buddhist monk, the master would want to have just a Buddhist school, that was not at all his vision. His vision was to have education for anyone who wanted it and have it based on Buddhist principles. So it was a little bit more difficult. We had to provide students, still is, keeping that middle way of having a school that teaches Buddhist principles and yet is available to anyone of any religion. So one of the first things that happened in the first year or so of the school was Cardinal Yu Bin came. Okay, Cardinal Yu Bin came to visit San Francisco.
我记得第一次我来到万佛城是刚 我们刚购买万佛城不久之后，那上人呢，他很不疲惫的一直带人一直上来参观万佛城。那个时候万佛城还不是万佛城，是一个旧的州立精神病院。那一天我上来的时候是跟几个人上来，已经是下午了。那时候我记得我刚教完课，上人呢就带着每个人呢到处，几乎是每一栋建筑物都进去，到了地下室啊，还有到了大厨房的那个冰库里面走一走啊，还有到了病房啊，还有甚至带我们到那个像是类似监狱那一种关，非常那个精神病重的病人，就是现在的如来寺。那上人呢，他有他的愿景，看到这将来是万佛城。可是呢，我其实那时候感觉是有点害怕，觉得有点这个恐怖这样子。那再回家的回程上面，因为上人有一个习惯，就是他让大家走在前面，然后他是走在最后的一位，所以在车子上他就从后面就问我说：“你觉得怎么样呢？”然后因为我想害怕，可是我不敢跟上人说我觉得有点害怕，有点恐怖，所以我就说这地方很大然后上人说你觉得它大，我觉得它小呢。所以呢，这就可以看到说上人呢，他的愿景是多么的大，他呢总是呢一直在扩展我们的心胸，然后我们的心，然后一直达到他可以看到的愿景。那我们开始创办学校的时候，首先是只有几个学生，也很难看到未来会成长，对中学、高中还有大学。上人虽然是一位出家人，可是呢，他对学校的这个愿景呢，不只是佛教教育，他是要提供教育给所有的人。所以刚开始是有点困难，就是我们要如何呢，把佛教的原理、佛教的教育呢，提供给每个人。就讲到在旧金山，还记得那个时候Cardinal 枢机主教宇彬他来拜访到旧金山来拜访。
So that, we didn't know it at the time, but that was the beginning of the Institute of World Religions. And the master, I think I'm running out of time, so I'm going to end with this. The master wrote a song in English for us to sing to Cardinal Yubin, and all of the students came to the airport to greet him. So I'm going to just tell you the words because I think it expresses, even though it's very simple, it expresses very well his vision for education. So, hello, please pay attention. While you're young is the time to build a firm foundation for being a human person. Kindness to our parents, honoring the president, doing the very best we can to benefit our country. First, we must build that deep foundation. Then when we grow up, we can help our land and everybody in it. Until finally, when we're all awake again, then we can truly benefit, truly benefit every single being in the world.
那个时候我们见到了这位教父，也不知道这就是 IWR， 就是世界宗教会的开始我快要没有时间了他说，然后那个时候上人呢，他呢就写了一首歌，然后就叫了所有的学生要来欢送这一位教父语宾。那这一首就是上人所写的，他是用英文写的，那下面我们这边是中文的翻译，那刚刚英文的版本他是读英文的上人写的版本，中文是 Hello Hello， 请注意，趁年轻早打下做人基础，报亲恩，尽援手，尽己力，为国谋幸福。第一，先把根扎稳，长大了才能真正利人利国，直到我们都觉悟，那时才能真正造福世上每个众生。
Thank you.
I'm going to ask Terry and Dharma to teach me that song. I haven't heard that before. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, there we go. We've heard from the monks, from the nuns, the laymen, the laywomen. All of you have been really patient sitting out there, and those of you around the world who came to hear the Sutra lecture, you got your money's worth tonight, hearing right Dharma. Tomorrow, I want everybody to get a head start on all the events. So let me tell you what's going to happen so that you can kind of fix it in mind. Those of you who've come all the way up from Southern California, some of you have come all the way down from Seattle, other places. We have a packed schedule tomorrow of Dharma events, and I know folks have been waiting for 3 years now to come through the gate, to sit here in this incredibly radiant room, the sacred space that Shifu made, and to be with a large community of fellow Dharma friends to cultivate the way. So you come to the right place and the right time. Did you know in 2012 we had an assembly here to honor and celebrate the 50th anniversary of Master Hua's coming to the West, bringing of the right Dharma. And guess what day it was? It was June 24th and 25th, 2012, 11 years ago. It was a major event. Some of you were here, some of you heard about it, some of you are hearing it for the first time. But that was the 50th anniversary of the right Dharma coming to the West, 2012, June 24th. So here we are, 11 years later, and ready to find our Dharma friends and to increase our merit, our blessings, and our virtue. So the seeds that are planted tomorrow, the seeds we're planting tonight, are going to sprout and bear Bodhi fruit in the future. Let me translate that and I'll tell you about tomorrow's schedule. 那么刚刚听到果仓居士Dr. Vu is 亲道居士，然后衡阳比丘尼恒来比丘所以四众弟子呢都跟大家转法轮解善法缘。那个我们明天就有一整天的活动，各位可以尽量的来修行好几个不同的法门。法喜充满，就增长各位的智慧如海。你们知道就是2012年，就11年前，在万佛城我们办一个大的活动，这个是圣人就说1962年先从香港到了旧金山，1962年把正法带到西方来了，刚好就是50年， 这是当时2012年2012，我们就庆祝这个50年正法到西方来的50周年，刚好在过11年了。今年2023年是哪一天呢？那个是2天的法会，哪一天？刚好6月24、6月24、6月25。所以呢，我们就11年前，我们就庆祝我们的50周年正法到西方来。Okay, tomorrow, early, 4 a.m., early risers. Some of you are going to be in hotels. That's going to be a little early, but I'm sure there will be some who want to do it. You can come over at 4 o'clock and do morning ceremony. Then at 5 o'clock, for some of you, there will be the transmission of the Eightfold Precepts. There will also be an opportunity for some of you to Chaoshan, to do a 3 steps 1 bow practice from the mountain gate all the way to the Buddha hall. It'll be around 6. 6:15 to 6:45, there is a breakfast that we'll offer for you and a chance to meditate, probably here in the Buddha hall. Then 7 o'clock, in our tent outside, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we'll be reciting Universal Worthies Practices and Vows. Oh, this is in the Buddha hall. In the Buddha hall. Okay, 7 o'clock to 7:50, reciting Samantabhadra's Practices and Vows of the Avatamsaka Sutra here in the Buddha hall. 8:10, from 8:10 to 9 o'clock, there will be bowing in respect to the Venerable Master Shuanhua in the tent, in the big tent outside. That's when most folks will be here. There'll be a lot of buses, there'll be a lot of chance to see your friends who you haven't seen for 3 years. Then from 9 to 9:50, there will be a ceremony in the tent honoring the Venerable Master's relics, the Sharira. Now, here's how we're doing it. In years past, we would file out and go all the way up the stairs by the former big kitchen. We would go to the wordless hall and pay respects to the relics. This year, it's a little different. We're going to do the ceremony together here in the tent, 9 to 9:50. And then if you would like to go venerate the relics personally in the wordless hall, you can do that after lunch. So we're going to do a ceremony without leaving the tent. That's the way it's going to be set up. Then 9:50 to 12, we have a really special event that is unique to Shifu's Nirvana observance, which is called a Chuangong, where, everybody kneels and we take 108 plates of food and Dharma treasures, beads and incense, flowers, and pass them from hand to hand to hand to hand. And it's divided up on 2 sides, but everybody gets to share in the offerings to the Buddha personally, as the plates of food and the treasures go down the roads. That's a unique, amazing event. If you've never done it before, tomorrow you have a big treat in store. Then we go to the Buddha hall. We enjoy a wonderful vegetarian lunch that the lay people and the bhikshunis have been working so hard to get this ready with short hands. Not a lot of staff this year, but they have persevered. They've gone without sleep a lot, and they work their hands to the bone, making it ready for us to enjoy vegetarian lunch tomorrow. Following that, at 12:30, you can go pay your personal respects to the Sharira up in the wordless hall, or those of you who signed up for the refuges and the precepts in the long life hall, that's over to your right, our left. 12:30 to 2:30 is the Sangha Wujie, the refuges and precepts. And people who want to take them can start bowing, I think, at 12:30. Those of you who are not taking refuges and precepts can come to the Buddha hall, where we are right now, to do the Great Compassion Repentance, Bao the Dabe Chan, recite 21 Great Compassion mantras. That's an incredible opportunity here in the 10,000 Buddhas hall. Then those of you who need to get back to Long Beach and other places, you have to get on the bus before 3 o'clock. Make sure that you pay attention to the time, because the there's a penalty if the bus comes back late, so you don't want to wander away and go off and take a look at wonderful Enlightenment Mountain and make everybody late. So you want to make sure that you're back on the bus before 3 o'clock. Okay, now those of you who are staying over in the evening, there's dinner for laity at 5:15, there's one ko at 6:30, and then a sutra lecture on the Avatamsaka Sutra at 7:30 to 9, followed by the heart mantra, the heart of the Sharanama mantra. Okay, now there will be a quiz. I want you all to tell me the schedule. You heard it. Make sure that you don't miss. No, I'm kidding about that part. Don't worry. No quiz. But you do want to be alert so that you cannot miss any of those events. 明天这个时间表大家要注意哈，因为有一整天的活动有很多法门呢，各位可以我们请你来一起学，一起修。早上4点做早课，然后5点传八关斋戒提供给你们，然后呢6点可以朝山从大山门到了万佛殿上古一拜。还有呢7点到7点50有念诵普贤弘扬品，就在这里，就在我们的大殿8点10分到了，那我们就休息20分钟，8点10分就在大帐篷，在我们这个大殿后边，观音菩萨的后边有大帐篷，可以给上人的舍利子一起礼拜，不离开大帐篷。你们各位知道，以前我们都会就行步就排队就到了这个无言堂。今年等吃完了饭，谁愿意一个人去瞻仰舍利，有机会不是那个9点钟，我们就不离开帐篷，就离这个舍利子，然后呢那是9点到9点50分9点50呢到12点我们有传功。你们各位知道传功是什么吗？这是很特别的，这个仪式我没有看过其他的地方，就说有108碟子108个这个碟了，有斋菜，还有法宝，有念珠有灯光，有香炉什么的。我们跪下来，从你的手传到隔壁佛友的手，他的手又传给他隔壁的人，这样子每一个人都有机会供养三宝，这很庄严。这个你明天你没有参加过，你一定会很欢喜这个法门。然后到了大殿我们比丘尼僧团还有居士们义工非常辛苦准备清净的斋菜给大家用明天吃饭。you know I left out the part about breakfast 我们早上还有提供不朝山的人在6点都可以吃早餐。那么大数呢是要中午的时候吃斋这个是他们很辛苦的准备给我们用的然后呢你们各位想去瞻仰舍利12点半有机会一个人去了。12点半呢要皈依三宝的人有机会皈依三宝还有圣母戒就在你们右手边的衍生堂可以了都12点半开始礼拜愿 OK 不要迟到了。OK 然后呢不皈依三宝不圣母戒的人就在大殿我们这里就可以拜大悲忏在万佛城呢非常庄严，念21遍的大悲咒你如果没有参加过万佛殿的大悲忏一定要参加了。可是呢你们坐游览车的各位尤其长期生死来的佛友们洛杉矶各地的坐游览车必须要3点前上巴士回去了免得你们迟到了就会好像罚款了。所以呢一定要准时上那个游览车，大家就回去 今天晚上你们是不是看到观音菩萨在空中啊？有没有啊？那我怎么知道呢？奇怪，你们不知道，我怎么知道呢？因为我看到相片，金校师送我们相片，看到空中有观音菩萨像，有的居士都看到了。所以呢，这么吉祥的一个旅游回去，应该是一样，更应该说更富有，更吉祥。So, how many people looked out the window of the bus and saw Guanyin Bodhisattva in the sky? Nobody dares put their hand up. Oh, you missed it. Yeah. How come I know about it? You don't know about it? I know about it because Jin Xiaoshu sent me a photo. You mean you missed it? Guanyin Pusa was there and you didn't see her? Wow. You were probably reciting so sincerely you didn't even look up. I know. That's good. Good for you. Focus. Okay, so if it was that auspicious coming up, imagine what it's going to be like going back. You want to be even more sincere. How wonderful. Okay, those of you who don't get on the bus, there'll be a dinner at 5:15, evening ceremony at 6:30, and then tomorrow night, a chance to hear the Avatamsaka Sutra. All right, well, those are the announcements for tomorrow, and we are 50 years plus 11, 61 years since Master Hua brought the right Dharma. And, you know, I've been pretty much around the world looking at various ways of being Buddhist, Theravada ways, Vajrayana ways, modern American Vipassana ways, and Zen ways to do it. And there aren't many places where you can hear the Mahayana Sutras. There aren't many places where you can bow Guanyin Bodhisattva's repentance. There aren't many places where the Bodhisattva path is celebrated. There aren't that many places where when Ulambana comes around, you can make offerings of the Ulambana basins and learn about the Bodhisattva practices of Samantabhadra. But City of 10,000 Buddhas, the branches of Master Shenhua's Dharma Realm Buddhist Association, Long Beach Monastery, Gold Wheel Monastery, Blessing Furushou Monastery, all the way to Snow Mountain Monastery, Gold Summit, Gold Buddha, Gold Sage, and on, Gold Mountain, and Gold Coast Dharma Realm. These are places where the Mahayana tradition is alive and thriving. But once you step outside of our community, you know there aren't many other places. So if we want to keep the vision of the Bodhisattva, the Paramitas, the Shurangama mantra and Sutra, the Great Compassion mantra and the 42 hands, all these wonderful dharmas that Shifu gave us, just filled our backpacks, filled our pockets with all these dharma treasures. If we want to keep them alive in the world, make it our responsibility to pick them up and experiment. Try them out. See which sutra you like to listen to, which one you like to study. See which mantra you can memorize, right? See which kind of practice, meditation, Pure Land, mantras, teaching, Vinaya. What is your preference? It's only to be feared that I won't do it and then it will disappear. Nobody else is going to pick it up outside our tradition. Very few. The Vietnamese tradition is very active in keeping the Mahayana alive all over the world, especially in California. But beyond the Vietnamese tradition and the Chinese Mahayana, you don't hear about Quan Tiem Bồ Tát, right? How's my Vietnamese accent? Getting better? Quan Tiem Bồ Tát. Better? I'm learning. So there's not many places where you can hear these wonderful Dharma treasures. And if you don't make it your responsibility, my responsibility to pick it up, it's going to go away. It'll just be forgotten until another world comes around and another teacher like our teacher brings it alive, brings it back to life. So let's pick up these practices. Tomorrow's a perfect day to make our Dharma body and wisdom life full of energy and full of nutrition. That's tomorrow. And then, as we heard Terry Guozhan recite Shifu's song in English, bring this Dharma to every living being in the whole world. 就说我自己个人有机会周绕地球看看佛教界，南传佛教藏传佛教，还有日本禅呢，还有美国Vipassana佛教界。应该说，像我们汉传佛教的菩萨道，汉传佛教的 观世音菩萨的大悲法门呢，汉传佛教的地藏王菩萨、乌兰盘经菩提心菩萨六入万行很少。除了我们万佛圣城，还有法界佛教总会的分支道场，没有多少地方。还有一个地方，什么地方？哪里有越南传的汉传佛教？那个越南应该不是汉传，是越传佛教呢，也有观世音菩萨，大家知道了可是呢，除了这个之外呢，不见了。那我们怎么保证他们不会消失于世界呢？就是把弘扬佛法、修行佛法、拥护佛法当自己的责任，这样子呢，保证你的下一代你的子女都有佛法可以修行。不然的话呢，我恐怕了这个世界上我们要等来生才能认识玄公上人，像他这种的这个是大圣人了，所以呢，大善知识，所以不要等个人把这个当自己的责任来把它搞这个弘扬佛法呢，就拥护正法当自己的责任，那就可以了。那就像 Terry 他说，上人用英语写的这个歌曲怎么说呢？我们就把佛法利益救度世界上每一个众生为盼。Okay, there we go. So, time is up. I'm 5 minutes over. You all need to get some rest tonight. Go back to your hotels, your dormitory, and get plenty of sleep so we can be up tomorrow for a full day of Dharma practices. 各位要早一点回去呢，就自己的酒店呢，自己的宿舍就准备明天出来了，有一天的法会很多六度万行都有机会的So we have to transfer the merit. So what we're going to do, we speakers are going to turn around and face Guanyin Bodhisattva. We'll do 3 half bows. Those of you who have a bowing bench, you can do full bows, and let's transfer the merit and virtue. Dharma Master Yung, is there any more to announce tonight before we close up? Anything to say? Otherwise, we'll just transfer. Okay, 好，那我们就会上供的。May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light break the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Okay, that'll do it for us. Om Tofo. Good night, everyone.
you.